Hello, Cinema Peeps!
Hello!
Hey Cinema Peeps, welcome back to another Talkie Tuesday.
Hey Cinema Peeps! Hey Cinema Peeps, welcome to another episode of Talkie Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll fix that, but that sounds like a tomorrow problem.
Yeah, future problem.
Future problem.
Yeah.
Always future problems.
Yeah.
Hello, Cinema Peeps.
Hey Cinema Peeps!
Now I just want gin. Now I just want some gin.
Well, I mean, I had Bailey's in my tea last time, so I'm surprised
Right?
you didn't have a little cheeky drink with you this time.
When we start doing our Hallmark Christmas ones, I'll have some like
yes.
cheeky hot chocolate.
That's a great idea.
Oh boy. Oh, there was one on TV. I only got to watch part of it, but I really want to finish it. Called The Merry Measure.
Oh, in Merry Measure? Yeah.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah. I
I don't-
saw the ad for it.
I only watched like 30 minutes of it, but like there's that scene where she's like auditioning the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and this one girl just like casually like slips into beatboxing, and I'm like, brah. Like I get the scene is supposed to be like, wow, these kids can't sing traditional music or whatever.
Oh,
And I was
yeah.
like, this girl just like casually slipped into beatboxing, and I was like, I am for it. Let's fucking go.
Nice.
Like, I'm so excited, but I did not
That's
have
funny.
time to watch it, unfortunately.
Oh, well. Soon you will, hopefully.
I hope. I did watch A Christmas Song.
Mm.
Our Christmas song.
Our
That's what
Christmas
it's
song.
That's
Mm,
yeah.
Okay.
With the redhead from the Christmas at Cartwright's.
Oh, okay.
She has that face.
Yeah.
She just has that face. She was
The,
like
the
born to do-
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed face.
just
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's so good. But it was this movie was a bit of a stanker for me
Ooh, oh no.
personally. Bit of a stanker.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like nothing offensively bad about it. It just didn't tickle my interest. It just was like meh. It was all about like this girl who's getting sued for her song called
Mhm.
Our Christmas Song or something.
Okay.
So she goes back to her hometown to find proof that she had wrote the song with her dad X amount of years ago before this song. And I guess there was this rival with another country singer. And yeah. Yeah. And they kept like, because I guess like the whole thing is like their dad has passed away many years ago.
Mm.
So they keep being like, you know what dad used to say? If it's not the gold, it's what's behind the gold that matters. And then they'd be like, you know that song? And I'm like, no, these are all made up things in your universe. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. So it was a lot of like that. And it's just like, oh my
Oh.
God. And then, of course, she can't find the song. And then they keep quoting this thing where it's like, you know what dad used to say? It's not the gold on the wall. It's what's behind the gold that matters. And I was like, bitch, go to your dad's study. It's behind the gold record.
Yeah.
That's what your song is. Just fuck it. Like, and then finally, at the end of the movie, she goes, I was like, oh my,
Epiphany.
pretty much. I was like, bruh, you know what your dad used to say? Stop saying shit, because too many fucking sayings. Like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I don't care much for movies where they make references to things that don't exist.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine if they want to, like, if there's like a pop reference or something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like something at least tangible, but like, when it's something made in their own universe and they're like, you know that saying? I'm like, no one knows it.
Yeah.
Just you. So it's like this weird awkward moment. They're like, they have to fill the audience in, and then they have to say it like 500 more times. And I'm like,
Just kind of defeats the purpose.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Very exhausting. Very
That
exhausting.
doesn't sound fun. Yeah, so I watched, which did I watch? I watched The Royal Nanny. And I watched Three Wise Men and a Baby, which is the Snapchat clip that I sent you.
You kept just sending me, and I was like, I had to tell the girls, I'm like, bro, we have to watch this for our
Yes,
drunk.
yes,
we
you
have
do.
to. We have to.
I gotta say, I've been blessed, I guess is the best way I can put it. I have been blessed with seeing all the wacky ones lately, and I am here for it. I love it.
Damn. Damn.
Oh,
As I
yeah.
said, The Royal Nanny is one we had to watch too, so we're gonna
Yeah.
watch those later in the month, I think.
I feel like you will enjoy it. It was cute. I liked it. And
Right.
I thought she did a great job. I will say I did not realize because for some reason I thought she was British, but she's Canadian. I didn't realize that. The
Mm.
actress who plays Alice from Batwoman, who's in the
Yeah.
movie, yeah, but she did a very good job. So props to her.
Round of applause.
Round of
Right
applause.
there.
Yeah.
All right, let's get in the real meat and potatoes of why we're here today.
Okay. Yes, we
Other
are.
than recording a podcast every week that we do.
This is an extra special episode, y'all.
It is. It's called Caleigh bullied Kendra into watching what I like and making an episode about it.
I feel like that's our friendship.
We just bully each other. You gotta watch my thing now. You gotta watch this. You gotta watch
You
this.
have to watch it so we can talk about it. You're the
Right.
only one who can talk about it with me.
No one else can talk to me about this.
Yep.
We are here today to talk about Limitless.
Dun, 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 dun.
For me, more importantly, the TV show because it's way better than the movie.
Yeah.
So for some reference, the movie I already forgot. The movie came out in 2011 and it stars Bradley Cooper.
Yes.
I think this was like just after The Hangover. Like I think this is when he was like, I'm serious actor time, but not quite Oscar, you know?
Yeah.
Hadn't quite reached that status
He hadn't
yet.
reached Oscar status yet. Yep.
Because I remember watching this movie being like, wow, Bradley Cooper? Oh yeah, I remember. He was that dorky guy from
Hangover.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow. So this was like I remember being like, wow, it was a very serious role for him.
Yeah.
And supposedly, I don't know, because I was gonna look up stats, but I totally forgot. That apparently the movie was very successful and very popular, I guess.
Yes.
Question mark. And so that 3-4 years later, they made a TV show about it.
Yeah.
Which I would argue is way better than the movie, but
well,
that's
I mean,
just my opinion.
and honestly, I'd have to agree. I've only watched a couple episodes at your recommendation.
Mhm.
And I am enjoying it so far. I quite like it. I did not realize because I knew nothing about it. I was going in with like zero
Mhm.
information other than your suggestion. I didn't realize that Bradley Cooper was an executive producer of the TV series.
Yes.
I knew you had mentioned that he had made a guest appearance in the show.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize just how involved his kind of character's storyline was. At least from the 2
Yeah.
episodes that I've seen. So that's kind of
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
And I'll just kind of dive right into my first impressions of it, if that's okay.
Sure. Do we want
But,
to start with the movie or the TV show?
what do you think? What should we start with?
Let's start with the movie, and then we can move on to the superior, better TV show.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. Yeah, so I do remember seeing Limitless the movie, like, back in the day. I feel like it was like
Mhm.
a movie that I watched among a group of friends, or I don't know if we watched it in film school maybe, or I just
Possibly.
remember because it would have come out around that time. I feel like that was around the time we were in film school that it came out. So I do the premise of it did strike a familiar chord with me.
Mhm.
I kept getting taken out of it when during his his narration, mainly just because I could hear Rocket Raccoon in his voice, so I get a little distracted. But
Yeah.
that was the only thing about that. But I don't know. I will say watching it, I don't know if it's just because you told me that the TV series was better. Watching the movie, I kind of was like meh about the whole thing. I was
Mhm.
more just watching it to know what the premise of it was. I didn't find it anything like super duper special, but then again,
Mm.
it's kind of past its time now. There's been movies that have kind
Yeah.
of like taken inspiration from it. I notice a lot of the cool effects that make like the movie iconic for what it is are used in a lot of like YouTubers things
Mhm.
nowadays. So that was kind of interesting to see. Like I don't know if that's where the inspiration came from or if it was just like they kind of coexist hand in hand because there's that whole like continuous, moving forward shot. I don't know how that's as best as I can describe it. Where it looks like he's kind of like continually going through the city, but the camera just keeps
Yeah.
constantly moving. I've seen that done in a lot of YouTuber videos,
Mhm.
and the more specifically in the TV series, in the second episode, I think it is, where running from his bodyguards and he's trying to decide what path to take.
Yeah.
And it's like three different things, but it's like echoes of him. It's like these like
Mhm.
duplicates of him kind of like showing his path and which way to go. And I've seen that effect done in a few
Mhm.
things. So I thought that was kind of neat. But yeah.
Yeah, I to be fair, I don't know how many years it's been since I've watched the movie.
Mhm.
So it was kind of a nice refresher, although I was just looking at my notes, and I mean, the one of the first comments I make is like, "I'm sorry, it has 2 opening credit scenes?" Like, it kinda had, like, one where it kinda, like, introduced people, and then it had, like, a second one, and I was like, "Okay,
The
I don't
movie
think you."
does?
Yeah, I was like, "This
Yeah.
is kinda weird, but
Mhm.
sure, I guess we'll waste 3 to 5 minutes on that, that's fine."
Yeah.
But yeah, the very saturated look, very 2010,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
It was kind of like
Um,
what was it on the verge of Inception? This movie?
oh, I guess it would have come just slightly after,
I think so because
because
I could
Inception
see.
was 2010, right?
I think so. Let me double check
Yeah.
quickly because I don't know. That was the movie that like popped into my head as far as like that kind of vibe and that tone.
Mhm.
Very like trying to do the whole Inception kind of warped reality sort of thing. Yeah,
Right?
2010 is when it came out.
Boom.
Inception.
Right? And I mean, like, I feel like the movie does have like like the concept is cool. You take this drug called NZT,
Mhm.
and it unlocks all the potential in your brain, which is really funny because in the movie they hit home that it's like you only use 10% of your brain, but now you have access to all 90%, which is like a myth. I meant to look this up because I know I've seen this fact before. When
Mhm.
people are like, oh, yeah, you're only using 10% of your brain and there's like 90% you don't use. It's not that you don't use all of your brain, it's just that 90% is like mundane stuff, like telling, like your body's telling your organs to do stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, how, like you don't think about breathing because your body naturally does that.
Naturally does it.
So
Yeah.
that's what that 90% is. It's not that you're stupid and not using it. It's like your body is using it.
Yeah, it's not like we have the ability to fly. Like, did you ever see the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson?
No.
Okay, because that was the premise of that one, where she somehow I can't remember if it was along the same lines of this, where she took a drug or she was just some sort of like advanced human, where
Yeah.
suddenly whatever happened, she was able to unlock 100% of her brain, and it would show throughout the movie. It'd
Mm.
be like 10% she's a normal person, 20% suddenly she's like super smart, 30% suddenly she can like read people's minds, and then as the percentage increased, she was able to like do superhuman type things. So she could fly, she
Yeah.
could like teleport,
Okay.
all these weird things. So yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Right?
But yeah, I meant to double check that, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that factoid before, which I thought
Yeah.
was very funny. But
Mhm. It's an
eh,
interesting thing to think about, but yeah, if it's the way you said it, then yeah, it makes sense.
right. And it's funny because even the show kind of makes a joke about it halfway through the season.
Mhm.
Brian like brings it up. But yeah, I think my biggest problem with the Limitless movie
Mhm.
is that Bradley Cooper's character I don't like.
Yes, I agree. Definitely.
And it's not, and I remember I wrote a note, and because I definitely like you, maybe I feel like we're probably in the same boat. We can relate to that struggle of creativity. So, like, the
Mhm.
story of him is about him, he's kind of down on his luck.
Yeah, he's
He's
like
a
a struggling
writer,
writer. Yeah.
so
Mhm.
he takes this drug, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, yeah, I have the motivation again because I can just see it now.
Mhm.
But then it kind of goes down darker and darker because every time you come off the drug, you have like this
Relapse.
unimaginable, like, hangover,
Yeah.
and then to in order for that to stop, you have to take more pills, and so
Mhm.
it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know why I'm always surprised. The surprise Caleigh segment is this is also based off a book, which, fun fact, at the very end of the movie, the book that's displayed on in the bookstore,
Mhm.
like, called The Dark Fields, that's actually what the book is called.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that in the credits there and then making that connection.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
And I did do a little I didn't do too much Googling, but I guess it's pretty similar to the movie.
Mm.
At least in terms of like it's based on Eddie and he's a struggling writer. I didn't look too
Mhm.
much into it. I meant to, but just
Mhm.
curious to see where the parallels end because I was wondering that like if the movie or sorry, if the book was kind of more about drug addiction. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
But and again, sorry. So like he's taking these drugs bad and it gets to the point where, he is working finance with Robert De Niro's character, who I always thought was supposed to be the bad guy, but really watching the film, he's not really the bad guy.
No.
He's just like, "Hey, I'm trying to run a fucking business. Can you, like, get your shit together?"
Yeah.
You know?
I think
And
I think that was probably the part that kinda took me out of it a little bit, 'cause I just didn't
mm,
really care about that whole scenario. I know that was kinda how you learned, like, I guess that's the thing, is, like, the and maybe that's where the TV show kinda does it better. It's like, the whole point of the movie is to figure out what this drug is, why it works, and, like, his kind of experience on it, right?
mhm,
But they did a lot of focus on, like, his relationship with Robert De Niro and him trying to, like,
mhm.
help the business and all that kinda aspect, and I just really didn't care about any of that stuff. I just wanted to know, like, what else can he do on this drug? So it's kinda
Mhm.
neat that they explored that a little bit more with the TV show,
Yeah.
where he's able to kinda use that in, hand in hand with helping the FBI,
Mhm.
and I feel like I don't know, I just feel like they did more to delve into his abilities or how far he
Yeah.
could go on the drug, other than just, Bradley Cooper kind of getting thrown into this deal with this Robert De Niro's character,
Mhm.
and that being his only, like, avenue up kind of thing.
Yeah. And then what was my thought? And yeah, and then kind of him facing the consequences of his actions when he needs more drugs.
Mhm.
But in order for him to even, like, I guess, work with Robert De Niro, he had to borrow money from, like, a shady business. And of course,
Yeah.
those guys come back and they go, "Hey, what's this drug? I want it too." So now
Mhm.
he's stuck with that. And then his old girlfriend comes back into his life, and then he pretty much puts her life at risk to get these drugs. And
Yeah.
she goes, "I want nothing to do with you with these pills. Like,
Mhm.
it's
But then
clearly
he ends
bad
up
for you."
giving one to her so that she can save her
Yeah.
life kind of thing.
Right, and then she's like, "Yeah, no bueno." And
Yep.
then he has that whole scene at the safe house. I think that's, again, at the same point where I was like, "Okay, so there's the safe house moment where the person who lent him money comes after him to torture and kill him, and
Mhm.
he was looking in his apartment for, like, one last NZT pill, which he found, and then it goes through the grate, but then he ends up killing the mafia boss. And he
Mhm.
goes, "Wait, he has NZT in his blood." So he fucking drinks this
Yeah.
guy's blood to get access to this drug, which
That was
Myth
disgusting.
Mythbusters got a bit. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's you can do that,
I don't know if you can do that, yeah.
and then proceeds to kill the other guys. And
Mhm.
then the end of the movie is now he's on top, and then Robert De Niro kind of threatens him a little bit, but then he kind of threatens him more.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, yeah, no, like."
No, yeah,
And
exactly.
and somehow his girlfriend is still with him, even though it's clear he's on the drugs. So
Yeah,
I was just, like, a little lost at that point, because again,
yeah.
like, I feel like, I don't know, like, maybe at that point his character could be like, "Wow, I'm truly, like, addicted to this drug, like, I probably should stop." But no,
Mhm.
I'll just drink some guy's blood. And so I think that was, like, at that point, I remember even, like, so many years ago, I'm like, "Yeah, this is where I, like, fucking really didn't like the film and just, like,
Yeah.
could not care."
Well, when you kinda contrast the 2 characters too, like, obviously, for story purposes, they both kinda are similar in a lot of ways. They kinda experience, or how they end up in that whole entanglement is kinda similar.
Mhm.
But I just feel like, I don't know, Bradley Cooper's character seemed more selfish, whereas
Yes.
Brian seems like
Oh,
a little
so
more
much.
relatable, like,
He's more
he has
caring. Yeah,
he's
it's
caring, he
just,
wants to do
oh, yeah.
good, like, he wants to
Mhm.
maybe, not initially, but or I'm still really early in this,
Mhm.
series, so I can't really make much of a decision, but from what I gather, he's wanting to figure out how he can use the drug to help more than just his own
Mhm.
selfish advantage, right? And 2, like you were saying, like, Bradley Cooper supposedly, we're under the assumption he took on this role to get away from comedy, wanted to be more serious, but I
Mhm.
feel like just because of how there's a good balance of humor and stuff in, Brian's character
Mhm.
in the series, I feel like Bradley Cooper could have played to that advantage with him, as maybe having a
Mhm.
bit more of a goofy side, but then again, maybe that wasn't the whole kinda theme or the whole vibe of the
Yeah.
script and the story itself,
Mhm.
but I do like that they put a little more humor and a little more quirkiness into the TV
Mhm.
series.
But yeah, and now we move on to the TV show, which I'm so sad
Yeah.
only has 1 season because it got canceled.
Yeah,
But
that's
g
crazy. And you think it
genuinely, it's
wouldn't,
so
because he's
good.
a Bradley Cooper's is an executive producer of it, so you wouldn't think it would have
Yeah.
gotten canceled.
I also, again, in my notes, I guess he also executive produced the Limitless movie as well.
Oh, okay.
So that was kinda cool. And I
Mhm.
meant to watch because they do have, like, on the special features on the DVD, like, an
Mhm.
adaptation from movie to screen. So I
Mm.
was curious, but I didn't have time to watch it. But,
That'd be cool.
right? But yeah, I think the biggest advantage is having the show not based on him and based on Brian's character because he
Yeah.
is just 100, like you said, 100 times more relatable and just makes the show. And I mean, maybe it's also just because they put it in the lens of like, hey, let's solve FBI cases
Mhm.
while on this drug. And again, kind of like you're saying, like, see what other things you can do.
Yeah.
Like, so much better. So much
Totally.
better. Also,
Totally.
does not hurt that Deborah's in the show, but you know.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, I like that there is that underlying thing of Bradley Cooper's character still being involved in the
Mhm.
series. There's kind of a mystery behind that. We know that obviously their relation is that they both have taken the same drug. Bradley Cooper maybe has a bit more experience with it now. He's got
Mhm.
this so-called shot that can kind of help,
Mhm.
him not have experience the side effects while still being on the drug.
Mhm.
But I guess the thing, unless I just wasn't paying attention, the thing that I'm curious to find out about is why he's helping him, I guess.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the interesting thing. Again, like I said, not it's not like I'm watching for Bradley Cooper, but it's
Yeah.
nice that there's that connection there and there's kind of like a mystery of like maybe
Mhm.
why he's helping out. And like I like that Brian's character every so often, at least in the two episodes I've seen, he's tried to Google Bradley Cooper's character, and every time
Mhm.
he does, the computer kind of like glitches out and then all the
Mhm.
power goes out. So it's like, oh, what's going on here, right?
Right?
So that's kind of cool.
Versus last time in the movie where there was, like, a dead hooker and he's, like, being framed for
Yeah.
murder, but that was never mentioned again.
Yeah, yeah.
And, of course, I remember maybe I just made this up in my own head as canon to make sense because they never really answered that question. Because there was that guy who was stalking Bradley Cooper's character, so I thought
Mhm.
he was the one who killed the stripper, but there's no evidence of that in the movie. So I
Yeah.
think that's something I've completely made up in my head to, like, make sense of anything in this film. Uh, but anyways, yeah, so TV show, freaking wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wait, so you finished episode 2?
Yes. So
What
the
happened
last
at
the last thing I
the
saw, so that episode was where let me backtrack and get it all in my brain. So the episode is where he and Deb what is her name in the show anyway?
Rebecca, Rebecca,
Rebecca, that's it.
Rebecca,
Okay, so
Rebecca.
she's Deb. Deb
Yep,
Morgan.
yep,
Uh
mhm,
Deb from
yep,
Dexter.
yep,
Yeah,
forever.
they're investigating this thing where they've discovered there's a genetically modified virus that has been targeting like ancestors of Genghis
Oh,
Khan,
yeah.
and so they're kind of like delving into that route, and
Mhm,
he's trying to prove that he wants to be able to actually like be out in the field. He doesn't want to be stuck in
mhm,
the filing room all day. So he kind of is able to gain her trust on some things, and but at the same time, in doing so, okay, hold on. So so he's frustrated because he can't tell his dad about what's going on. He
yes.
can't tell. Like he has to be very secretive about a few things, and his dad finally comes to him and confronts him and says, "I will not put up with this lying business. You tell me what's
Mhm,
going on. You've changed. There's a lot going on in your life. You either tell me what's going on, or we don't have a relationship," essentially, kind of thing, right?
mhm,
And so he's kind of in a dilemma, and he confides in Deb, and Deb tells him, like, well, he's a lawyer, isn't he? You could hire him as your lawyer, and
mhm,
then you can talk to him. And so he goes to do that, but then is interrupted because his dad's new nurse who's coming to help him out while, he's going through the
mhm.
recovery of his liver transplant. You find out the nurse is actually the same nurse that's associated with Bradley Cooper, and he's actually
Yeah,
met her before, and she kind of like subliminally threatens him that, hey, if you say anything, you're like
yeah.
you're dead, kind of thing, right? And
Mhm.
that's where the episode ends. So I was like,
Okay.
ooh, interesting.
I think it's the end of the next one, we get introduced to an Arrowverse character. So, mhm,
Ooh,
very exciting.
exciting stuff.
But I'll save that for now.
All right. I like the fact too, like just going back to the kind of vibe of the show,
Mhm.
it gives me very like it kind of reminded me a little bit of Chuck in some ways.
Mm.
It's kind of has a similar premise where, he's taking this drug that makes him really smart so he can help solve crimes, whereas Chuck was like sent an email that had all these images of government secrets, and they end up getting like weaved into his brain. And so the CIA and NSA have to protect him because he's an asset to the government now,
Mm.
and he wants to be able to go out there and help them solve crimes and
Mhm.
protect all these government secrets. But he's kind of a nerd, and he's kind of goofy, and like he messes up and stuff like that. So there's a
Yeah.
lot more kind of like a quirky comedy side to Chuck's, whereas this one's a little more like crime scene cop
Mhm.
show kind of thing. And it also kind of reminds me of Castle a little bit too, like where Nathan Fillion's character is a writer, but he writes about like
Mhm.
murder and that kind of stuff. So they use his expertise to help solve crimes too. So I thought it's kind of cool that they've thrown this little bit of like a black sheep character into this crime scene solving
Mhm.
scenario, and it's interesting.
Yeah, because in that episode, he, like, escapes his bodyguards, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Look, I built these bombs. Which
Yeah,
one do
and
you
he's
think it
like
is?" And they're like, "What are you doing here, Finch?"
right? And then he texts one of them, and they're like, it's a thing from Finch. It says, "Sorry guys, I had to." And he like there's like an explosion that happens in the filing room, and then they look at the little sign, and it says, "Sorry guys, I did it for the lulz." And he like
Lols.
runs away.
Yeah.
That was good.
I also like Bodyguards Mike and Ike,
Mike and Ike,
fantastic.
yeah.
Love it. But yeah, what was my thought? Yeah, I don't wanna devolve too much, but I'll just say, like, as the episodes go on, they get even more, like, creative, which
Ooh,
I
okay.
feel you will appreciate.
Yes. Well, that was the other thing I was gonna mention too, is I like the kinda transitions they do.
Mhm.
It's very kinda like old school, I don't know, like James Bond almost, where they have like where he's like him traveling through the city, and he's kinda
Yeah.
like describing his narration. So I like that they throw little effects and stuff like that just to
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
keep it interesting.
And so, like, props off to the editing team who, like, especially, like, again, in the first episode when he's helping out his dad, because his
Mhm.
dad collapses, and then he goes through his, like, brother's medical textbooks, and then they have, the whole kind of family tree
Yeah,
of his lineage, like, come up, which I thought was very cool and, like, really
right?
well done.
Yeah, it's kinda like Sherlock too, where they do that sort of thing where it's like you're seeing the inner workings of of his brain and
Mhm.
what he's like absorbing for information. And yeah, it's interesting. It keeps it very very engaging, I think.
Right? Like, hats off. I will say, like, in some of the later episodes, there's a couple effects where it's like, that didn't age well, but, like,
Mm,
at the same time, like, I won't ding it too hard.
yeah.
Just because they do a lot of very cool, like, effects like that, and they do more of
Cool.
it as the
I'm
episodes go
excited.
on.
Yay, I'm excited.
But yeah, I think, like, yeah, I just find the show, like, creative in that sense, but again, I just find Brian just a way more interesting character
Mhm.
than, Bradley Cooper's character,
Mhm.
and, that's my thought. And yeah, it's just, like, an entertaining show all around.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to watch because, like, Brian will as the show goes on, he will continue to have, like, these conflicts where, like, with his dad, and then when he has to start lying to Rebecca as well and kinda keep
Mhm.
her in the dark about the whole thing about Senator Mora and stuff, so
Mm.
you see him having to make really hard choices
Mhm.
and yet still trying at the end of the day to do the right thing, which
Mhm.
is amazing like, because I feel like most people would just be like, "I'll take the easy way out, woohoo!"
Yeah.
But no, Brian's, like, a really good guy, even though
Yeah.
sometimes he can be very crazy and they I think he did a little bit of I guess in the second episode, they call him being very artsy. Like, every time he presents, like, he's like, Here's my idea," and he'll do in, like, an arts and crafts project
Yeah,
about
he's
it.
like a big diorama or something like that.
Yeah, and they're just like,
Yeah.
"Finch, can you just get to the point, please?"
Mhm.
But I also just remembered I think you're just in a couple more episodes, there'll be another Dexter actor coming in.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Be very exciting.
Yay, I cannot wait. No, I am pleasantly surprised by it. I mean,
I'm glad. I
I
did
have
it. I
yet
win.
to
I win. I
I was gonna
win.
say I have yet to watch something that you have recommended to me that has not been good. So you do very well at recommending shows. You have very good taste. So yeah, I highly recommend, and as would too.
Yeah, just
It's
watch a synopsis on the movie. You don't need to watch the movie. Nah.
just know that Bradley Cooper's in it, and he went through the same.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of on the note you said though, like Bradley Cooper, yeah, when he took the drug, he was very selfish. Whereas Brian, one of the first things he does, well, after he does the filing, of course,
Hmm.
is he like tries to help his dad.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
just a much better character all around. But yeah, I
Right?
meant to watch the special scenes because yeah, especially the one from film to TV. I think I watched like 30 seconds just because I wanted to see how long it was. And they make this thing where they're like, "Oh yeah, Bradley, gave us his blessing, and he said, and the movie is so successful, but he said, do what you need to do to make a successful show and make it fun for Jake Bryan's character, to really, succeed." And I was
Mhm.
like, "That's really funny because this TV show is nothing like the movie, but in all the best possible ways." But sure, whatever. You tell yourself that.
Right? And it just kind of goes to show like not every film can be adapted into a TV show and vice versa, but when you can do it, the possibilities are like endless, limitless.
Limitless.
But
Nailed it.
but yeah, like in this aspect, like I thought, yeah, they did a really good job. Um, uh, I just playing. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. It works and it was good and it was entertaining and I guess I miss that kind of television. You
Mm,
know, I don't watch many TV shows nowadays other than, like we're still kind of continuing on the last bit of the Arrowverse
mhm,
series and stuff like that. But like when I think of all those kind of shows that kind of came out roughly around the same time, like the Orphan Blacks, we got the Sherlocks, we got
mhm,
Limitless, we got Dexter, we've got CSI. They all were very well written, great.
mhm,
And oh yeah, that was my other thought too. Going back to the comparison between Bradley Cooper's character
mhm,
and Brian Limitless TV show. It kind of reminds me of that hero's journey that we learned about in school too,
mm,
where like we were saying, like being that Bradley Cooper's character was on the selfish side, it was not really care about him as much.
mhm,
Whereas like yeah, like Brian kind of has that hero's journey aspect a little bit more. Like you feel for him as a struggling musician or and he cares about his family. He wants to be good and he has dreams and aspirations like he says in the show like music has been my passion. All I've ever wanted to do was
mhm,
make music and then all of a sudden all my bandmates quit and they decided to go and live boring normal lives, but this is what
mhm,
I've always wanted to do. I don't want to give up on it. And so it just kind of it's sad to see
mhm.
that he has to, he's struggling and he can't make it work on his own and then he gets wrapped up in all this, kind of like
Yeah.
throw a bit of a curveball in, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know if that's the actual actor who was singing, but, like, he's got a good singing voice.
He does, yeah. If it is, yeah.
Like, hot damn. Although, it's kind of there's a couple of, like, sequences that happen later on, but he makes references to vines, and I was like, "Ah, rip."
Rip
Rip
Vine.
vines. Sorry. I'm like, "Ooh, now we know how old the show is."
Yeah.
Thinks vines are still
The show
popular.
is showing its age.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
But, yeah, I'd say if you're looking for a fun, creative show with a solid main character, I'd recommend Limitless.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely
Um,
gonna continue watching it.
Yay! Was my other thought. Apparently, it also won an Emmy for its music,
Oh, yeah, the music is really cool. I do like the
right?
music.
I remember rewatching the movie and being like, huh, this is the music from the TV show, then realizing, oh, I guess it originated from here, but
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I don't know why the show got canceled. Apparently, when I was reading, it did actually have really high, uh, it had good reviews and it had high viewership um,
Hmm.
for the first little bit. I guess it dipped a little bit, but apparently an exec pulled the plug because, they know what's best.
Hmm.
Psych, not really, dum dums.
Yeah, he must have gotten a better offer somewhere else.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess that's the only sad thing. It only has one season, but who knows? Maybe it's better this way.
Yeah,
Who
you can
knows?
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And at least
And
they got like a full like it's not like a not that there's anything wrong with it because I think right around that time still it was like 24 episodes was normal for one season.
mm-hmm.
So it's nice that they did get like a full season and you can like
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of episodes to tell a story and stuff like that. It's not like they
Mm-hmm.
got cut off at 10 and then like it's just left on a cliffhanger kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only cliffhanger is there is like a part of the mystery that's never gonna be solved, but
Yeah.
at the same time, yeah.
Hmm.
It's not a humongous cliffhanger like another show that I like. ended
Mhm.
on a humongous cliffhanger.
Mhm.
Never forgive you, CW! Never!
Never!
Never! Hmm. But I think that'll do it for today's episode, unless you had any last thoughts.
No, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by it. I do like it. I think that would be both of our recommendations for today is for anybody who has not seen it to go check it out if you're into that type of stuff. It's an all-around entertaining yeah, it's a very entertaining premise for a TV show. They definitely were smart in turning it into a series and they did very well with it.
I concur. But yeah, unfortunately, as me and Kendra were running into this problem, we don't know where you can watch this show. Apparently, you
Yeah.
can buy the episodes on Apple TV.
Yes.
I have a relic somehow. I don't know when I bought that because I've never seen it on sale ever again or
Supposedly you can
ever.
buy it on Amazon, but sometimes it doesn't seem I don't want to say it doesn't seem legit. It just doesn't seem promising, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also do the, other way of watching content, but we do not recommend you do. I can't blink with my other eye. You cannot, we don't, maybe don't, but like, I'd totally understand this scenario if you had to do a very not super illegal thing, but I'm just putting it out there. You can do what you want. Under most cases, I would frown upon it, but in this case, yeah, it's impossible to find, which is again very sad because I would want people to watch it. It's a good show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good show.
Once again, Apple TV seems to do this thing where they just produce and or hold on to shows that are rare or good and then they're like if you want them, come and get them. Like
Behind this paywall, bish.
yeah, climb the wall.
I hope you enjoyed this episode today, Cinema Peeps. Thank you for letting us indulge in our special episode about Limitless. I'm sure no one else probably cared, but I like it.
Hopefully if you've seen either show or film, it maybe, validated some things, some opinions you have as well, or we can all kind of like fan about it together, or if you haven't seen it, maybe this will intrigue you to watch it. So,
We encourage it.
yes.
But yeah, if you liked this video, please leave us a little likesy at the bottom. Also think about subscribing to two pretty amazing gals, in my opinion. And leave us a comment down below. Would you take NZT if you know you could unlock the potentials of your mind?
Yeah. And what would you do if you could?
Sleep. I would just find a way to sleep. I just waste the pill. I'm just like, oh, good. Now I can optimize my time. Now I can go to bed. Yay! I did it.
You like work in your sleep?
Oh, that's the dream. That's the dream. My God, that would be great. But yeah, and also like check out some of our other videos. We did do a special Stranger Things episode, two-parter episode a while back this year. That's pretty good.
And on the topic of Dexter, being that Deb was in this series, we did do a couple of Dexter-themed episodes as well, if that's something you're into.
Right. We hope to do a couple. Yeah, we like doing these like every so often, a couple like heavily, focused on one thing. But I feel it's Kendra's turn to pick.
Yes. Ooh, okay.
Kendra can pick and I'll be forced to watch it.
All right. I'll have to think about it.
Right.
Interesting.
Probably won't be till the new year, but still, if you guys have any suggestions, again, comment section's free.
That would be great.
Leave us sorry, babe. Leave us a comment down below. But until next time, watch all the content and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey monkey.
Monkey monkey.